All right, we got a match. Black Knight versus Cool Umbrella. I think this is from one of Cool Umbrella's tournaments. I think it was his Friday Night Fights, if I remember correctly. I think. Anyway, Greenskins versus High Elves. It's a matchup that used to be Greenskin favored, and I generally liked it a lot. I thought it was fun to play. I like using Black Orcs and stuff, and they're quite good in this matchup. But since the High Elf buffs and the Greenskin nerfs coming into Game 3, it has flipped on its head, in my opinion. I think it is now pretty decently High Elf favored. Not unwinnable, but it is decently High Elf favored, in my opinion. Though Cool Umbrella is no stranger to the green beans, he really does play a lot of them, and Nurgle and Lizardmen. So, what do we have for the builds? 2 Archers, 2 Illyrian Reaver Archers, a whole bunch of Spearmen for Black Knight. Mage of Life with Regrowth and Earthblood, triple Dragon Princes, as is his favorite, and Imrik up on his mount, as again is his favorite. For Cool Umbrella, we have Orc Boarboy Biggins, Forest Goblin Spider Riders, a whole bunch of Squig Herds mixed with Goblins. On the far side, more Spider Riders with the Broken Tusks mobs. We do have a Hammer of Gork to pressure the opponent to come in, but also a constant blinded effect for anything that gets hit. We have a Goblin Big Boss with Daynade Stabbin', a Goblin Great Shaman up on his Spider with Gork'll Fix It and Sneaky Stabbin', plus Don't Even Try It, but that's not a spell. And then we have a River Troll Hag with Spirit Leech. Okay. I know Cool Umbrella really likes the Goblin Great Shaman for a Lord, because as far as like Greenskin Lords go, he is a little tough to snipe. I tend to struggle with the Goblin Great Shaman, but I see its benefits. It's definitely one of the better Lords. I don't know if it's the best, but I tend to just end up with Warzag. It's really hard to not use his army-wide buff. Alright, Spirit Leech on Imrik. Imrik almost lands in the middle of those Spider Riders, but decides against it, and I think that is wise, considering how much cav and heavy armor is around. He throws out a quick little breath attack onto the Goblin Great Shaman, doing, I don't know, pretty okay damage. Yeah, about 600. So good for you, Imrik. Good for you. Alrighty, on the far side, Spider Riders are ganging up on the Illyrian Reavers, and that's actually going very, very well for them. That is a huge trade up, and Imrik is thinking about getting involved. Meanwhile, Spearmen are having troubles with Squig Herds plus Goblins. Squig Herds, when they are encased in Goblins, do provide a lot of nice armor piercing, and they can actually do a lot of damage. Imrik gets a rear charge onto the Spider Riders. He is going to terror out them, and if he terror outs them straight off the map, that'll be a huge win, but it looks like they are going to head inwards, which is fine. Goblin Big Boss dives onto Imrik. I think he's going to throw down a Lone Stab at some point, but his melee stats are currently 0 and 24 from the Dragon Horn being cast on him, and the Goblin Great Shaman plus River Troll Hag are trying to bail out their little goblin friend for now. Cav still advancing. High Elves getting pushed back, but the Squig Herds are shattering as the Dragon Princes came out of the trees, doing a lot of damage to the Greenskin front line. But now that the Orc Boarboy Biggins are here, that trade will go against them quite heavily. I have had Dragon Princes lose to Boarboy Biggins when Waz popped, and there is Wa, it is popped. Now this is a bad time for Imrik. Orc Boarboy Biggins surrounding him on all sides with Wa popped, with a Goblin Great Shaman here, with Sneaky Stabbin' on himself. That is a lot of damage going Imrik's way, and he's not having a great time. It might be an overcommitment here onto him, seeing how many cav units are all surrounding him, and he's still on a dragon. He can actually just walk out of this. It'll take him a bit, but he can just walk out. So I think maybe one Orc Boarboy Biggin and have the rest off doing something else. Illyrian Reavers try to dive in and save him, but they will end up dying for the sacrifice. And Imrik's getting a regrowth to even try to keep him up, but a Spirit Leech is also thrown his way. A lot of sniping attempts there. We do have a bit of a blob fight with some Dragon Princes on top of Spearmen versus Orc Boarboy Biggins on top of Spider Riders on top of Goblins, but the Hammer of Gork is throwing in, also attributing a blinded debuff, taking their melee stats down to 20 and 20 from 44-44. So we really want that Hammer of Gork to keep hitting that area if you want the Greenskins to win this battle. Imrik did get away at last, throws down another breath attack into a bunch of boars and the big spiders. That was a pretty money breath attack, even if it wasn't one of the super sexy unit deleting ones we've seen before. It was pretty high value. And he's going to dive back into this fight with a lot of debuffs that are ready to be thrown his way and surrounded by arm-piercing heavy cav. That seems like it might be a mistake, and Gork'll Fix It is even thrown down. So the Dragon Princes now try to opt out. Imrik is once again surrounded. On the far side, Dragon Prince is barely holding down the back line. Archers trying to get away from rampaging squigs. But there might not be enough elves to hold back the wall. And meanwhile, the Hammer of Gork has been just super happy, sitting in the back, applying debuffs, shooting. Imrik's healing cap is within sight. They need Stabbins thrown onto him, so even with any buffs he might have, he is down to 32 melee defense. That is the important stat when you are the one being surrounded. Doesn't really matter how high your offensive stats are if you're just going to get deleted in the defense. Goblins surrounding the Mage of Life while Imrik blows the Vuvuzela of Doom. Dragon Princes will dive back in, trying to peel off the Sphoros Goblin Spider Riders, and that will succeed. Hammer of Gork firing in. I don't think its friendly fire applies the debuff to his own units. Yeah, it does not, so it just does some accidental damage. But quick Spirit Leech onto the Mage of Life, who's already surrounded. She will actually start routing as she throws one last Earthblood onto Imrik, her Lord and Savior, rather than save herself. Blinded is on the Spearmen, giving them 0 melee attack. Pretty nice stuff from the Green Beans. On the far side, the High Elf Infantry is holding after all the Dragon Prince support it got, but it looks like the Greenskins are going to have no trouble rallying, and they will come back and probably deal with those Spearmen. But Imrik is trying to snipe out the Goblin Great Shaman, who is busy finishing off his healer. He did T-pose a little bit, unfortunately for him, onto the Great Shaman, but a Dragon Prince surround should rout off the Goblins quite easily. And Imrik himself has taken a lot of damage. I don't know if that Mage of Life is going to be able to rally, though, so any damage you can get onto Imrik is good damage. Dragon Princes fighting Orc Boar Barbarians. They have some spear support, but it's not here right now, so they're taking a lot of damage, though there's another charge in from the other Dragon Princes. Imrik is stuck. They need stabbing on him, again lowering his melee defense down, but the Goblin Big Boss taking a lot of damage from archers. His leadership is extremely low. He's about to terror out. Unless he has already terror routed recently. It looks like he has, otherwise he would have routed again. The Goblin Great Shaman is currently getting his ass handed to him by Imrik, and Imrik is trying to drag this game back, which he does. He manages to rout the Great Shaman, and the Dragon Princess should be able to escort him off. Goblin Big Boss chasing down the Mage of Life, trying not to let her back. Her leadership is positive once again. We have a very healthy archer considering how much pressure the backline was under. We have some Spearmen, some Dragon Princes, Imrik himself, more Dragon Princes, and some Spearmen over there, though the Greenskins are getting a bit of a second wind. They are charging back in, getting a rear charge onto some Spearmen. Huzzah, huzzah, but the Spearmen of the High Elves will hold. Another Spirit Leech from the River Troll Hag, but she's taking so much damage in short order, she is probably going to rout. She's a troll after all. She's a hero, but she's a troll hero. So there she goes, she will tear out. Mage of Life getting chased down by the Spider Riders, but that will allow the archers to keep firing. Greenskins all of a sudden running out of gas, and the High Elves will drag it back from the jaws of defeat on the back of Imrik the Mighty. Hammer of Gork is the last thing left that isn't routing overall, it looks like. I mean, these goblins are coming back, these Spider Riders are about to rout, but yeah, it is on the Hammer of Gork to not let the army, literally army loss right now. But that only lasts so long. As the River Troll Hag dies, Goblin Big Boss is going to rally, but I don't think it'll be enough. I think we will be seeing army losses here in just a second. There it is. And Imrik, still very strong, especially with healing support. On his own, not that crazy. But regrowth might be a bit busted. Dragon Princes did alright. They didn't get a ton of value, but they were holding the back line steady, so good for them. Really, this was just the Imrik show. Spearman got decent value, but nothing else really paid for itself except for Imrik. That's funny. Cool Umbrella, 2,700 value on his Spider Lord, 1,400 on the Broken Tusk Mobs, 1,300 on the River Troll Hag. Other Boar Boys also did very well. The Hammer Gork did excellently. Spider Riders didn't quite pay for themselves. Squigs did fine, and Goblins did fine, but it's funny how much of the stuff on the Greenskin roster paid for itself and how little the High Elves did, but it's like you got so much value buff from attacking Imrik. Like, they killed 2 Imriks, so there's a lot more wealth to go around, as opposed to the High Elves who had to rout off Greenskins and then chase them off the map rather than, like, kill them. So, GG. Roar!
Subscribe, yes, yes.